Hola, soy yo Vicky otra vez y en el video de hoy vamos a hablar murciano. So in today's video I'm going to teach you a little bit of murciano. So any of you that live in the area I live here in Spain, near Murcia. I'm not in Murcia, I am actually in the province of Alicante, but right on the border of the province of Alicante and Murcia. And you may know or may not know, but the Murcian dialect or accent is quite notorious for being difficult to understand. So it's quite a challenge to learn Spanish in this area. Having said that, I always think if you can learn Spanish and understand people speaking Spanish in Murcia, then anywhere else you go in Spain, it's going to be quite easy to understand. So, not only the accent, I mean, in this video, I'm going to explain some of the ways you might hear things pronounced. I've outlined several different pronunciation differences and actual expressions unique to Murcia. And just even speaking, now I've remembered another couple, so I will mention them as well. So just something to be aware of if you live in this area and you're listening to Spanish in this area, or you come and visit this area, it may be a different kind of Spanish. I mean, it's the same language, just accent, just the same in the UK or probably any country, whichever part of that country you come from, we have distinctive accents. Okay, so something that just occurred to me while I was starting this video that I haven't actually included in the things that I'm going to hold up and show you is the pronunciation of the C. So the classic, if you like, pronunciation of how the C should be pronounced when it's followed by an I or an E is th, like gracias. But in Murcia, you will hear gracias or Murcia, right? So you will hear it pronounced not lisped, but more like an S. So that's one thing. And there are different parts, certainly of South America, where you will never hear the th sound. It will always be a s sound. So that's just something that just occurred to me while I was just starting off the video. Something else is they call it come las palabras. They tend to eat the end of the word. They don't finish off the words. If you're learning Spanish, you probably know that normally all syllables in Spanish are pronounced. But so if you're saying comes, you pronounce the S. In Murcia, they don't tend to do that. They may just say come, and there's no ending put on the verb, which is handy really, because it means if you're not sure which ending you're supposed to be using, just cut it off completely and don't bother trying to think of it. Just go come, and nobody will know which that your ending maybe is wrong. So that's another thing to think of. They do speak quite nasally as well, I think. So there's there's a lot of that sort of, they do speak like that. So it's something to be aware of. So sometimes if you're in this area and you practice your very best Spanish on someone and they come back to you and say something and you don't understand a word they're saying, it's not always your fault. This is what I always say to my students. But of course, initially when you're learning it, if somebody goes like that, you think, oh my God, I've said it wrong. Maybe you haven't said it wrong. Maybe you just haven't said it in Murcian, or Murciano, I should say. Okay, so number one, the first quite distinctive difference in how we pronounce something here in this area is the ado. It here is pronounced au. So instead of saying supermercado, they will say supermercado. Instead of saying hablado, hablao. Comprado, comprao. And of course, because there's a lot of words that end in ADO. especially the past participles, when we're doing the present perfect, like I have spoken to Juan. He hablado con Juan. But it should be he hablado con Juan. But the ado is pronounced often al rather than ado. So that's something to listen up for. I remember clearly when I was teaching English, students were chatting away about football, I think, some football match, and talking about ganao. And I'm thinking, what the hell does ganao mean? But of course, they were talking about Spain had won, ha ganado, but they were saying ganao. So that's how I learned about that. Okay, sorry, a little coffee. Un poco de café. Okay, so número dos is a good example of how they don't finish off the words. Instead of para, they say pa. Este regalo es para ti. This present is for you. So if you hear pa, it's para. Okay, so just don't bother finishing off that word. Another similar example where they don't finish off the word. Número tres, instead of todo, to. Instead of nada, na. So they're not finishing the word at all. So, este coche sirve para todo. This car will do for everything. Or the opposite, este coche no sirve para nada. This car will not do for anything, or is not good for anything. So, todo, to, nada, na. Este coche sirve para todo. Este coche no sirve para nada. Now, I'm not saying that you should speak like this because this is not good Spanish, but just so that you're aware of it, so that if somebody says it to you and you're not thinking, what the hell does pa mean, or to, or na? Okay. Now, this is a special word, an actual word that is particular to Murcia, Zarangollo, and this is a dish. Es a plato revuelto de patata, cebolla, huevo y calabacín. Okay, so it's a revuelto. It always sounds like revolting, doesn't it? But basically it just means scrambled. So it's potatoes, onions, eggs, and calabacín is like pumpkin. There's another word we've got for it in English. I can't get it. I'm forgetting my English these days. So this is a dish, a nice scrambled potato, onion, egg, and pumpkin, or the other word that I can't think of. And lovely, very nice dish, but it's particular to Murcia. Okay. Another word that's particular to Murcia, which is either un or una, because of course we've got masculine or feminine, follonero, or follonera, of course. Pesado, irritante, so this is a person that is really annoying, or boring, or a pain, and we say, oh, it's a pain. Aquí llega el follonero de José Ángel. So here comes the pain in the arse, if you like, sorry, for want of a better expression. Here comes that pain, José Ángel. So, follonero, an irritating person or a pain. What else would we say? A pain in the arse, yeah, something like that. Now, this word is interesting because Número 6, pico, and of course it could be pica for a woman. It's got a couple of different meanings. It's sort of classic meaning, if you like, generally in Spain. If someone's pico, they're like a snob. You know, they think they're better than everybody else. Que pico es. But in this area, it's sort of taken on almost a familiar meaning. It's quite a term of endearment, you know. hey, pico, ¿qué tal? It's like, hey, I'm trying to think of an equivalent that we might use in English. Hey, boy or girl, or, you know, hey girl, how are you? So it's not got that same snob connotation. It's just a way of referring to someone. ¿Qué tonto eres, pijo? You know, how daft you are. You're how silly you are. But it's not insulting. You know, it's if somebody calls you pijo or pija in Murcia, they're not being horrible. It's just a term of endearment. It's like girl or guy or man, I suppose we said. Hey man, you know, like that sort of expression. Well, in America they do anyway. This word is para dinero. Pavos. Pavos are equivalent to euros. Pavo, of course, is a turkey. But if you said, pagué 80 pavos, I paid 80 euros. Yeah, pavos are notes or euros. Vale. Número 7. Again, a word that is not really used elsewhere in Spain. Zagal or zagala, which is just un joven, un muchacho or muchacha, a boy or a girl. Zagal, zagala. Again, with the Z, you can do a the or a se, but you would not do, just either of those is okay. Zagal, zagala. Número 9 is una miaca. This is just, means un poco. Dame una miaca de ensalada. Give me a little bit of salad. Una miaca. A little bit, un poco. Another word for boy or girl, they seem to have a lot of words for boy or girl, so is acho or acha. So this is just shortened for muchacho or muchacha. So acho for a boy and acha for a girl. Shortened version of muchacho or muchacha. Okay, I notice there's quite a lot of words with Zs that are particular to Murcia. Whether that's got to do with Arabic influence, because most words that have a Z in them in Spanish come from the Arabic. And of course, the Moors were prevalent in the south more than in the rest of Spain. So I suppose it's possible. I'm not saying that's true. I'm just giving my own theory on that. But as the Rio is a golpe or a ruido, a bang or a noise. Pijo, ¿qué ha sido este zurrillo? So, hey, guy, what was that noise? So, yeah, I think my English is worse than my Spanish at the moment. I'm having difficulties putting it into English. But pijo, ¿qué ha sido este zurrillo? You know, what was that noise? Okay, and I do quite like this, it's quite sweet. Ico, ica they use instead of ito or ita. Now, if you're learning Spanish, you may know that when you're making something diminutive, like small, like my little brother will be mi hermanito, I tío, and my little sister would be mi hermanita. So we put ito or ita on the end of a word to make a diminutive. And in Murcia, it becomes aicio. Dame un poquito de la ensalada. Es mi hermanico. So, yeah, instead of ito and ita, it's ico and ica. It's quite sweet, actually. Another word that is different, número 13. Jornal is your sueldo or salario. That's your wages, tu jornal que ganas cada mes, that you earn every month normally, or cada semana, depende. And I do like this word as well, bambo, which is a zapatilla deportiva. In other words, some sort of sports shoe. like trainers or anything that you use for sport. ¿Dónde están mis bambos? Where are my trainers? Yeah, ¿dónde están mis bambos? I've never used that actually. I think I'm going to start using it because I quite like it. Vale, ya está. Okay, so that's it. That was the last one. So there you go. Things that you need to, if you want to speak fluent Murciano, or if you want to understand people in Murcia. It is a very distinct accent. Yeah, and there's, I mean, Murcia itself, Murcia city, is a beautiful place. If you ever get the chance to go there, it's very alive, it's very vibrant. There are lots of a popular thing in Murcia to stand and eat your tapas and coffee and things. There's these tascas, they're called, which are like little bar cafes, I suppose. But you don't go inside; you stand outside. They don't even have chairs. You know, it's just literally just stand and have a little snack, una tapica, a little tapa or something, just to keep you going through the day. You know, you need a lot to keep you going in Spain. Yeah, okay. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that video. I hope you found it interesting. Let me know what other different slang words maybe from where you come from. Whether you come from Britain or maybe you don't come from Britain, whichever part of the world you come from, I'm always interested to hear about. You know, words are interesting, aren't they? And the way people talk is interesting. Language, for me anyway, is interesting. So I'm always, please let me know any special words that you have maybe in your area that you don't have in the rest of your country. And yeah, and that's it. And don't forget the books. If you're learning Spanish at home, there's my Break the Language Barrier books, there's the dual language books, and also there's my Patreon channel. But all the details are in the description box. So, muchas gracias por mirar. Que tu Dios vaya contigo y te veo muy pronto en el próximo video. Adiós.